Welcome back.
We're back here for some more League of Legends action. I'm on the other side. I'm seeing everything as smiles and rainbows and happiness. We're going to another game because don't we just love more League of Legends?
We do. It's our favorite thing in the world. 71 minutes, 38 seconds on the clock of that last one. Nearly 150,000 gold for the Afreeca Freecs, who didn't manage to close it out. And apparently, we were told Ruler set a new record for second place most CS.
That's not how English works, but we'll run with it. He got a lot of CS.
Whatever.
He finished second ever, apparently. That's what we learned.
And also his 31 HP on the Nexus.
Yep, 31 HP. I saw 71
all the way down,
floating around, but our observers came back with 31 on the Nexus.
They gave us the hard confirm. So 31 HP is all that separated us from staying and going. Turns out we're staying. And Papa's going to get the cast on his birthday twice.
And Haru picks up the MVP on the Jax. A lot of assassinating, a lot of backline threat on the Jax. This late game jungle Jax, every time we see it, I say, sick level 3 ganks. Never see any of those, but late game, oh boy, it's some nice numbers. This is when Crown had the worst day of his life.
Yeah.
Had nowhere to go.
It was certainly a slow burn on the Jax there, but finally managed to get the win in the end. And as we go later through all of the, I mean, there's so many you can choose from, all of these highlights, you see Haru just wreaking havoc, typically sticking to Kramer the entire time.
Whenever you get to close to 40% CDR, some sort of damage and insane tankiness, Counter-Strike can be used twice in a chase, and you just can't kill the damn Jax. He's very, very strong in that particular regard. And his ability to win that team fight straight up and just trivialize. This is a fight where he died, but look at how many people are drawn to kite for Kramer. He dies, but Alistar, Galio, and Ezreal are required to take him down. Haru did some heavy lifting in the late game. Not expected. Ambition, their late game jungler. Haru, usually about his early presence, but I love how he always knew his role. Just killed Kiin straight up, turned on to the Ezreal, got most of his health, got him out of the base. So difficult to win those team fights when the Jax is oh so powerful. His Guardian Angel didn't even pop, and this is the final fight, so let's focus on Haru. Runs at Kramer. Kramer just dies. Spirit's like, I can't peel for you. I'm Kha'Zix.
Yeah, gets him right before the Arcane Shift goes off. We'll see the final moments of Game 2. They pull off
31 HP because there must have been a ranged or caster minion hitting him. Smiles from Haru, who confirms that he will be keeping his position for Game 3. We'll do our best to keep our wits around us as well, but it's been a crazy night again. 3 12 p.m. plus finishes out of 4 match days here at OGN.
Yeah, I'm cursed apparently, is just what turns out to be.
You say cursed, I say blessed. More League of Legends is what the people want. More League of Legends is what the people get. We had that long off season. We were waiting for the games to start. We couldn't have known it would go quite this way.
I say cursed because Kassadin makes me say cursed.
I mean, I'll let him deal with you later.
It has its ups and downs here, but yeah, we do have this Game 3 ready to go. And we are just about 13 minutes out from your birthday, Papa. Closer and closer.
Just what I wanted. KSV versus Afreeca Game 3.
And that's
birthday.
A better present. Not even a puppy.
I think Afreeca were hoping for a certain Void puppy. Had the Kog'Maw banned out first on blue side. Game 1, which feels like an age ago, blue side bans GP, Ryze, and Azir. All the AD carries short of, I believe the Kog'Maw were left open at the time, but the big story here will be, do we see Galio left open? As Galio's been revealed, it didn't win, but it certainly was very good at shutting down the Zoe. So where Galio and Zoe fall in this draft will be fun to track.
It didn't win, but should it have? Is kind of the way you have to phrase that. But either way, we'll just keep progressing here. So pretty familiar bands coming through. Camille yet again taken off the board by KSV.
Sejuani available.
Nope.
But will be banned away, even though it's Haru and not Ambition. Feels like they share a lot of champion pool at this point. I like the fact that they're sharing ideas. We still don't really know what it means for shot calling. They were very well defensively set up with KSV, but...
Okay, well, no Zoe shenanigans. Will be banned away here in Game number 3.
See how KSV approached the first pick. Seen some different first picks so far in this series, different approaches. The Gangplank was preyed upon in Game 1, and Gangplank did lose Game 2 as well. So Interesting to see that Gangplank has been on the losing side both times.
And the Rise yet again, just taking that one away from Crown. Don't want him on his maximum comfort, so we're actually going to go back to the Azir, something that was very passive for him in game number 1. We didn't really see, I believe, any aggressive Emperor's Divides whatsoever, just the defensive ones thrown out.
The mid-jungle duo held him down, Nidalee and Zoe, and there's no ability to recreate probably that level of pressure. It would take, say, LeBlanc Nidalee or something like that. What's available here? Speaking of what's available, bucking the trend of the recent meta, the hyper carries are available, so will be the Kalista taken for Kramer this time out. Was banned away from him in the previous game. Braum, very, very high priority as well. Could just be Kalista Braum in the first round if they want it, but the Kha'Zix taken away, so another respect ban from Haru, at least being considered.
All right, so yeah, go ahead, lock that one up for Spirit yet again. Did have some shining moments with the Kha'Zix.
Why not Varus Braum, Achilles? Does seem, very, very possible here.
It does typically work. It was a bit uncharacteristic of Ruler, in game 2, getting caught by himself in the mid lane. And just getting popped a couple times, not really having that fancy footwork that we know him for with the Varus. But seems like they want to just go back to this supreme comfort. See whether or not it's going to be the Braum.
Taking a long time. Might just draft a jungler here as well. Allow the supports to be banned out in the second round. They will. So Haru's famous Rengar is going to be taken. Really made such an impression debuting for Samsung in the spring season of 2017. Lots of aggressive counter jungling, playing with his mid laner. Kind of saw this very weird duality, Achilles, where when Haru played, Crown looked like a god, and when Ambition played, CuVee looked like a god. That was kind of the trade that was happening, depending on how the playstyles and the laners interacted. Crown definitely did struggle with Ambition in the roster when it came to having a big impact in games, and this time we will see him back on the Azir, but with a different jungler, a different champion. It is the Rengar again on the blue side for KSV. Because it's Haru, you hold it in higher esteem.
GP off the board. Not going to be seeing him 3 games in a row.
That's where the meta's gotten to. The Gnar is locked in and the GP is banned.
It's just such a reversal.
Speaking of reversals,
so what is going to be the pick then into the Gnar? The Jace is still on the board.
And CuVee was impressing a lot of people with his Jace in solo queue largely around the time of the World Championships. The story was all 3 Korean teams play the Jace, even though it wasn't a staple of CuVee's champion pool. So we'll be banned away. And there's a Galio ban. I like that one. So no Galio Kha'Zix. So the adaptations that have evolved over this series and also this week are cool to track. Means a lot is still available, though. Big story is all supports available. No support bans. Mid lane choice would be a riskier one. Kuro is one of our big Kassadin pickers. He's a big fan of Kassadin. He will lock it in after 6. Good matchup against the Azir. You often see very interesting itemization. When I've seen this matchup in the LPL, it can actually lead to both of the carries going for the Abyssal Mask, going for the more tanky route on the Kassadin, just to ignore the damage from the Sand Soldiers.
Maybe we get an Ornn.
Could be a support Ornn. We're not 100% sure, but we'll find out in this round of picks. Top Ornn or support Ornn for one of the 2 here, and it's going to be a top lane Ornn, so very similar matchup. One that's very Gnar favored, but in the early game, we've seen Ornn do better and better in the laning phase. We're still on patch 8.1, so the Unstoppable on his W, the Bellows Breath, is still there, so a lot of counterplay available still. In the ultra late game, Ornn has both his items and just the fact that felt like that was the big thing that helped them get over the line in those repeated team fights around the base, and just going to be, with all supports available, the Taric. So here we go. In Game 3 of the series, just had some energy drinks relayed to us by OGN. Very necessary. Thank you very much for those.
Appreciate it.
Afreeca kind of doing a little bit of everything with this team comp. Certainly team fight options, try and navigate the Kha'Zix around, but the rest of the team can do that. They play side lanes very well, and if you see Kha'Zix get very big, you have that situation where Azir has to play the mid lane, Kassadin hits his items, hits the side lanes, and then both Kassadin and Gnar, with the Kha'Zix jumping through, can do a lot of work in the skirmishes. So really like the skirmish power if we see any sort of snowball happening on the red side.
See the players there trying to jazz each other up, clapping. cheering, just making sure that their heads are in the game and that they're perfectly wide awake as we get ready to go into this. We are about 5 minutes from midnight here in Korea. Ladies and gentlemen, game number 3, final game of the night, ready to begin.
CuVee's first game on the Ornn in his career. Going to be happening here. Haru's famous Rengar, something that I think all Rengars watched very closely in spring last year. It's a year later, but still a relevant pick. Kuro on his Kassadin, but that will require jungle pressure, so we'll have to see Spirit's pathing, and Spirit has been very level-headed in this series. The bot lane, it's a lot of famous picks. Ruler on his Varus, Kramer on the Kalista. Those both got their pick of the choices. Both Kog'Maw and Ezra going through the draft. Lots of standard stuff here, but nothing standard about a game starting 5 minutes short of midnight.
All right, here we go. Papa Smithy's birthday on the horizon. Game number 3, KSV versus Afreeca. It's been neck and neck this entire time. Let's see who will close this out and walk away with a victory. Fans still sticking with us all the way through to the very end.
We're definitely not...
A bitter end for one half of this audience.
We're definitely not full, but we have 250-odd fans here, all celebrating, excited for what is another crazy game. I think we're going to have to ask Riot Games to start a bus service for these players. For the fans as well, when it comes to these late nights. Public transportation ends around midnight Korean Standard Time, so these guys are all going to have to find a way to make their ways home, but we will know the victor of what was supposed to be and what still is a top-of-the-table clash between Afreeca and KSV. So far for now, power of the Braum level 1 means that Afreeca is very shallow. You would really love deep vision when you have a Kassadin just to spot out the early laning. So the early jungling phase and the early pathing of Haru, and just making Haru predictable on a champion that he looked a level above his opposition a year ago. It's always a good thing from the perspective of a team that has a Kassadin who walks around, throws out a couple of Qs, and calm down. Sounds like I got a shout out from the Korean casters. Very nice of them, but still a little bit early. We've got the clock right in front of us. So 3 minutes 20, so around the 5-minute 10 mark, we will have some birthday celebrations, and hopefully a good game. I'm hoping that this one is going to be just as interesting as some of the recent ones we've had today. That's an insane discrepancy in wards, by the way, Kilios.
That is, yeah. What is it, 37 to 152?
Crown, despite being well held, putting out 27% of his team's damage. Kind of expected when Kuro is not going to be contributing too high with that one. Just showing you some stats from what was a game that 31 HP on the Nexus ended up being the difference between KSV and Afreeca. We went past the 70-minute mark. Do we just see Gathering Storm on some of these carries this game?
You know, it's quite possible. To wait and find out. Just keep trucking along here. So far, slow start as anticipated. Going to be a lot of farming, very little skirmishing as we wait for the Rengar and the Kha'Zix to get leveled up.
And the lanes are very predictable. Gnar pushes in Ornn. Can go equal in the early game depending on how aggressive you play as Ornn. This is some nice pathing from Spirit.
Yeah, it's coming around the back here. Crown trying to dash away, takes a bit of damage there from the Void Spikes in the leap, but otherwise is going to be safe. Pushes straight back up to get the minion.
Power farming, so 2 extra camps, 4 CS per camps, 2 extra camps for the Rengar as Ruler makes a bit of damage.
Dazzle onto him, but the Unbreakable there from CoreJJ blocking the rest of those spears from coming through. So to be pretty safe, not too rough of a trade there.
Confirmation wasn't quite second place, but third place for CS record, 925. Pilot 746 is comical.
The thing of the past.
With the numbers we're getting this season. So congratulations, Ruler. He's top 3, all 80 carries.
I'm still not sure how Pilot got that. I'm not sure which game it would have been in.
It was a generic game. That's
I guess it was probably the oldest one in history prior to our new record.
Thought we were in a snowball meta, but we were mistaken. It is very much League of Stall. as it's kind of evolved to be here in Korea. When it leads to a sick fight, when it leads to a sick Azir play, you can't feel too bad about it, but some of these games have just had so many Barons taking it. Baron's usually thinking of game ender, but it's become a game delayer as Baron and Elder Dragon not enough for games to end. Once again, the team that monopolized Elder Dragon and Baron lost in the previous game.
Yep. Seems to be the way that it goes once you hit that 70-plus minute mark. Maybe just 60-plus.
What is the new mid-game number? Are we thinking 40 minutes is mid-game now?
You know, it's starting to get that way.
Early game ends at 28 minutes or so.
Yeah. I think that's about where we're looking. What's the current like average?
I mean, it's probably up to about 45 now.
Yeah. So it's pretty significant. Haru, he's just not so stealthily walking in. Just knocking down a couple minions there. Trying to push Kuro back, and I do have to say, ladies and gentlemen, happy birthday to my co-caster, Papa Smithy. We have hit midnight. He is 19 years old, and he just looks overjoyed to be here right now.
2 more years, and I can drink in North America. It's what I always wanted, Achilles.
It's okay, but now you're legal to drink in Korea.
Yes!
It's absolutely perfect.
It's what I always wanted. Feels birthday, man.
I'm sure there'll be plenty of those in the chat.
All appreciated. It's been an interesting week. After this game, we'll be halfway through LCK Week 2. Giving you your bonus LCK games, 6 games this week. After the match day from Sunday was moved to tomorrow. So more birthday League of Legends for me. I'm just so lucky.
I really thought that pop-up was going to say happy birthday, Papa Smithy. Birthday percentage rate, 100%.
I mean, Kuro win rate on the Kassadin been working. That's a big sample size, too. 72% over 18 games.
Not too bad.
Level lead over Crown. With teleport, I assume that means he got through the minion wave faster, but anytime a Kassadin gets through laning phase, pretty equal. In fact, up in CS, it's pretty happy times for Afreeca Freecs.
Just waiting for the action to take place.
Haru's almost level 6, and while Ambition has been very conservative with his Thrill of the Hunt uses, Haru is much more on the aggressive side, despite kind of farming up a Storm in Game 2. Hoping we see that reflected. Bot lane is a bonanza of CC, so Rengar would love to come through a lane gank.
Yeah, if he can just get on top of somebody, especially as CoreJJ hits that level 6 mark.
Kha'Zix knows this, but he's going to be second there if we see some assertive play. Not sure how close Ruler is to level 6. He's not spotted. Entering the brush is Haru.
Up in that brush, CoreJJ staying hidden as well.
Plus just like, well, I'm going to leave for a little while.
I'm just gonna sit back. Won't get spotted out. And there's the ward. Oh, TusiN. Fun ruiner.
There was a Krug camp for him to clear. Maybe he could have justified waiting enough time to look for the lane gank with the Chain of Corruption, but not to be. The first obvious path to bot lane is thwarted, but I'm sure Haru will make a return visit before too long.
For now, just going to go ahead and get the red buff, so we'll see if he utilizes this aggressively at all. Just expect bot lane to be hitting 6 very shortly here.
Already hit by Afreeca,
yeah,
so
there we go. Just happened.
And hit by Ruler and CoreJJ.
All right, let's go, Haru. Zip your way down there.
Nope. Going top side, securing the blue for the mid laner. It's competitive play. No fun allowed. So far, not much to speak about. Who that favors, I think, does actually shift as the game goes on. When it comes to the mid game, Afreeca Freecs have a lot going for them. 2-item Kalista, Kassadin, and his ability to pop over walls and assassinate. Varus is pretty free food for our fed Kassadin.
Is this the new or the old mid-game definition?
The old definition of mid-game.
Okay.
I mean, the new definition of mid-game seems to be 5 items, which is a bit absurd, but I'm going for the 2-item mid-game spike, which looks good for Afreeca Freecs. Ultra late game, it's incredible CC and Azir Varus, so you kind of have to love what KSV's doing there. Again on paper, and the papers have been apparently illegible or written in a language I don't understand because they've been very irrelevant so far this season.
Hieroglyphics, perhaps.
Also is the Ornn items to factor in, so
yeah.
Even more power to be unlocked. The Azir can get ungodly fed. Think back to Pawns. Death Guard upgrade. Azir, recently, a few days ago.
Maybe if we have another 70-plus minute game, all of the KSV players will upgrade their items.
I had some choice words for Wraith. We'll see if the team has their items upgraded pre-70 minutes. That's the number I'm looking for, guys, please.
That's all I'm asking, the bare minimum.
Oh, I'm not expecting the game to go shorter than 70 minutes, just that they upgrade their items by 70 minutes. I'm a realist now. LCK's made me a realist.
This is just the world that we live in. Anything else at this point would just be strange.
Weird and wonderful, we'll say, about the LCK. That's the glass half full way to describe what has taken on in the last 5-6 match days. Very, very extended laning phase here so far. But to the tune of just a 3 CS disadvantage in mid lane for the weakest laner in the game. Kassadin, so definitely happy times for Afreeca. As presence of mind, as you'd expect, we'll almost always see Precision Tree second on the Kassadin, just for access to a rune that he abuses the best of any mid laner.
CuVee keeping up pretty well. Bring out that minion wave. So just about 10 behind. And then our favorite matchup, so not too bad for him. He's holding on tight.
The OGN Legion is too. This one is certainly not going to be a walk in the park for either team. Waiting on first blood, 10 minutes in. Haru finds a control ward. Gnar was in a position to gank, but the control ward is enough to stave him away.
So what do you want for your birthday?
I want 2 best of 3s from the Gangnam Stadium. And you know what? I'm getting it.
How many games would you like?
6.
6? Another 6? Okay. That does make going out for your birthday after 6 games a bit more complicated, but...
It's true. I work the next day as well.
If that's what you want, then that's what you'll get.
Well, I can't really celebrate too hard. There is also a further 6 games coming Saturday and Sunday.
There you go. Fortunately, this is the only week that you have 6 days in a row.
For now.
For now. It could change.
You got to be ready to pivot, as I have been with casting these insanely long days. Product of the meta and also the natural tendencies of the Korean players to min-max around safety rather than min-maxing around styling.
Oh, Kramer got a Kinsu's Rage Blade as Kalista.
That is definitely a sign that we're playing forever laning. Rageblade Rush was only a thing at Worlds because you got so much value out of the Ardent Sensor. Ardent Sensor on Taric still a possibility, probably going to be a bit later. Certainly not as powerful as it once was. This is ability to, once you hit the 6 stacks, actually get 2 Ren stacks per every other auto is very, very powerful, but it's such a big dip in power, and you don't even have the Bay the Ruin King to try to all-in and lane. It basically says, let's play really long games, non-interactive laning phase, and so far he's getting what he wants.
Oh, Kramer. Well, Ruler, in the meantime, he's going to get jumped on. Takes a heck of a lot of damage, but trades it back, has the stopwatch to stay alive, and then TusiN's going to arrive, and nothing will happen.
Probably smart of him to stopwatch there, wanted to stop there from the end. We've had another spell rotation when he came back up. And she'd take down Kramer. No summoners used, though. Nice invade from Crown, and Haru want to deny the blue buff from Kuro, and they will.
Yeah, we'll take it away, but Haru just have to go ahead. Oh! Despite for that one, TusiN tried to flash in to get the Dazzle Stun there onto Haru, but doesn't quite have it. TP coming through. Straight in the middle, CuVee. Gonna be the first one to arrive, but the Fate's Call will go ahead and drag TusiN away. He's going to be safe, and no one will die.
Strange to see CuVee actually complete his teleport against a Kalista. Always going to be an out button for Taric, who's the only person that was pushed up. They'll turn this into a Drake. They will not lose a turret for it. It seemed like a pretty routine cancel on the side of KSV. Maybe just showing how high a priority they place on the Mountain Drake.
Well, they are able to take that one away at least, so pick that up, but Afreeca's still going to be having the gold lead here for the moment. Even then, it's just up by about 700. So nothing too significant there. Still waiting on that first brick gold to join us. Go over to one of these teams. But at least we have an Infernal Drake to look forward to next, so maybe that will help accelerate the pace of this game.
Does mean it's much less likely to be left open than other Drakes, so I also share your optimism on that one, Achilles. I also note that the new standard build for these Gnars has been moving away from the Iceborne Gauntlet, which has long been a favorite in solo queue and in many competitive games, for lane control on the Ornn. Because you're in the Gnar matchup, you don't think you're ever going to get the shove in, so also look at your team and you're like, well, Frozen Heart against Gnar, who's been going heavily AD and attack speed in this game, this series I should say. Kalista and the armor against Kha'Zix is very valuable. So they're basically saying, you want to be able to play team fights. He's the only person that can build it. Okay.
Oh, wow. He's just going to get popped. Kramer going low. Almost gets taken down. One more hit. Might have been able to finish him off. Now we'll see another TP coming through here from Kuro. He joins into the bot lane.
They got 2 summoners out of Kramer.
Oh, in the meantime, Haru finding Spirit in the jungle. Spirit finding him. Haru's going low. It's the blast cone over to the side. And yet again, taking so much damage, but nobody dying.
No one falling, but it's oh so close. You see how weak Kramer is without lifesteal. He doesn't have fleet footwork either. Very disrespectful to go Ginsu Rageblade and no fleet footwork against a Varus, one of the strongest laners in the game. You understand why, because of how passive the OS series has been. But, you know, the information is there for the enemy to see. They can put 2 and 2 together and see that you have very little 2v2 skirmishing power.
Just adapt
unless
the
you
playstyle.
have exactly, and they're adapting their playstyle. Like to see this from Ruler on the Ultra Comfort. He may have used a stopwatch, getting some lane control, but not to the tune of a CS advantage. That's kind of the problem here. If they can break the turret, maybe that matters. As I see a zoom out. Bot lane Fiesta party time.
Spiro joining into the bottom side. CoreJJ trying to block what he can, but Ruler is going to get focused down, and that's going to be first blood going over to Kuro there with the Kassadin. Trying to turn something around. His crown arrives. Spirit is chunked out, and Haru, he is on the hunt, jumps in on top of Kramer and absolutely destroys him. Has to stopwatch, stays alive. You see that Cosmic Radiance come down, but Spirit has to flash away. They're still pursuing it. One more hit to pop it, and that's going to be it. He's actually just going to go ahead and basically bleed out as Haru comes up with the triple kill. He will get taken down in the end by Kuro. But all of a sudden, the action just explodes forth onto the rift down in that bottom lane.
Haru and KSV know their limits so well. Look at the tragedy at the start when they had the Varus and the Braum. Turret died without skills up, but what a turn coming through. Rengar out of nowhere with 3 kills is insane. We're going to see the replay here. I mean, Varus is just deleted. Nothing that could be said about that. If you go Ragebait and get ganks, it's fine, obviously. Rengar comes in, so does Crown, and you think, how's this gonna go? So much burst, and the stopwatch starts things off. Then they get the first concussive blow stack. They have the rush to juke around. 2nd kill, 3rd kill. Haru does die in response, but a triple kill is massive, and you can see Ruler, he's hyped.
He is popping off in the booth right there. That is the energy that KSV really needs to feed off of. Keep themselves awake and focused in this game.
And this is the Rengar that's on the enemy team in solo queue. Going to very soon be most likely Duskblade and Warrior, or just the extra chasing power.
Hello, Brown's going to be finding Spirit, uses the Emperor's Divide. We'll just dash his way out of there.
This is what we thought the meta would be. Lots of damage, high amounts of burst on lots of different champions, and skirmishes. And definitely not been the tournament meta in Korea, but a little bit of a sampling does reinvigorate us on a late night here in Korea.
Yeah, that's bot lane. Just like that. I'm awake.
Good, we needed you, Achilles.
I can see everything now.
I mean, you were wearing your glasses the entire time.
Yeah, I probably should update my prescription, actually. My eyes have been not so great as of late, but that's going to be TusiN getting chunked out.
No real kill threat there coming through, but just want to get turret HP down. Force Taric out of lane. No tier on the Taric to permanently have full mana.
And Flash Exhaust, Cosmic Radiance coming back up as well. So
guess who's coming?
He was pretty good, but here we go. Call of the Forge God coming through. CuVee looking for the pop, but just going to be a little side hop there from Kiin. Keeps himself nice and safe. Haru still trying to chase his way in there. Gets the leap. Kiin flashes away. Very well timed by him as he tries to turn this around with Spirit on the flank. Get a little bit of damage in, but outside of that, Haru going to be perfectly fine.
He gets a flash out of it, so still successful use of the ultimate. Kuro and Crown.
Coming in here, Emperor's Divide coming back up. Kuro jumping over the side with the Rift Walk. Crown low on mana, will go ahead and just kite back.
Not as much flexibility short of level 16 to Get the Rift Walk going further, not enough CDR on the ability, so even though he's able to reposition out of the Sand Soldiers, didn't have multiple burst rotations to actually kill Crown, whose heal was down during that. Confirmation it was Duskblade first, not the Yomus from Haru.
For as much burst as he can get. Well, first turret was already picked up by KSV, but Afreeca needs to match the count. Taking down that top tier 1 turret. Now we'll have to see how the teams are going to play around this Infernal Drake as it spawns here in 3 seconds. So far, just a little bit of vision in the river for the Afreeca Freecs. KSV lacking a bit, but CoreJJ is looking to change that.
Item-wise, pretty comparable. It's not Blade the Ruin King Hurricane, so Kramer is not necessarily going to be an AoE threat. KSV just start onto it. They picked up the first Drake of the game. They power down the second one. No contest. Will be an Ocean, the third of the game. The first two, high value for KSV.
Yeah. Very nice start. Kramer going over, picks up the red buff to help give him a little bit more kiteability.
First game in a while, we won't see the Rift Herald attempted. There was so little action in the first 16 minutes. There wasn't, counterplays to be happening for the team that was losing on the bot side. Ward control for now is there for KSV around the area. It's pretty equal though, and Spirit will start to clear. Spirit this time no Moby boots, and while he's not as fast as the Rengar to his items, he's doing decently despite not getting any kills himself. Wonder if the quest will be on this time, Kilios.
See, Haru right now waiting in the brush. Kiin's just going to go ahead and peel back. Going to push forward. Yes, he does. Transforms back. It looks like he saw him coming, so Kiin will just go ahead and peel off.
Haru's been weirdly this second top laner in this series. The Jax was ungodly fed and a damage threat after going Trinity Force early and being allowed to hit 6 items, and now so accelerated on the Rengar that he can pretty much 1v1, at least blow a flash, sometimes just get a kill on anyone on the Rift.
He is quite the threat so far. See where he wants to continue the build for now. Seems like he's just going to stock up on control wards and pick up a Ruby Crystal.
Thinking Black Cleaver then. Judging by the Ruby Crystal. Do often see the double Dirk items in solo queue, but going to stick with just the Duskblade and go for a bit more conventional tankiness, but also some shred. Well, not doing that much physical damage. The team not doing that much physical damage, but more is more.
Haru pushing up here, looking for Kuro, gets the leap. Just going to tag him for a little bit of damage. He's got that Rod of Ages, so he's stacking up quite a bit of HP.
In case you're wondering, QW is the pretty standard max on the Rengar. So far, control-wise, this is getting more and more towards a KSV game after an Afreeca series.
Really solid siege coming through here. They're just going to get the lockup in on a Kramer. He goes down to half HP as the Cosmic Radiance comes down. We'll keep him alive, but that still allows for KSV to go ahead and finish off the turret. So 2-1 in that regard.
They're playing with vision in a more traditional KSV style. When you ask me what a KSV game looks like, take a deep breath. There's Rengar's
here. The pop up there onto Kiin. He does not have the flash. They will draw out a TP away from Kuro.
Needs to relieve the pressure. Rengar will just cancel that all-in attempt, but playing around vision, pushing up vision, playing where they're strong is what KSV are known for. They haven't really had a chance to do that for 2 games, but this game, the early game's been a lot more clean for them. So while we've seen 2 games from the Afreeca playbook, almost a 2-0, so nail-bitingly close. 31 next HP away from an Afreeca 2-0 that would have been well-deserved with how well they've played this series. This is the first time this series where it's KSV who get to follow their own playbook.
Yep. Kuro going in for a bit of a trade. Haru is waiting in the wings, as is CoreJJ. So, going to be that third and final outer turret going down in favor of KSV, finally stretching a 1,500 gold lead. Still not very significant for already 23.5 minutes into this game. And 18 minutes into your birthday.
It's been an interesting one for the third game here. 23 minutes in. It's a KSV lead, which is, again, a new thing for us to really judge. It does also tell us if KSV can close out this game, that attacking the early game of KSV, no surprise, is one of the ways to halt their march, which so far has been so impressive. Spirit well held 2 games in a row. His Nidalee Zoe duo in game 1 was the very significant reason that Afreeca Freecs were able to win that particular game. It's largely the Galio and their ability to rotate in game 2 that got them the big lead there, whereas the Kha'Zix wasn't able to mop up any kills. Now his opposing number is very accelerated. A phage up on the Kha'Zix is Haru.
It's solo queue. Nightmares are made of. It's Haru right now. Oh, beautiful chain of corruption over the wall to the back of the pit by Ruler to lock him down. Spirit will go ahead. Flash jumps away and actually looks like he'll make it out with his life. But man, Ruler, what a play that was. Unfortunately, the rest of the team just couldn't pick it up.
But when you don't finish the kill, yo, Flash is down on your AD card. You lose the bot lane outer turret. With a kill there, maybe you can turn on to Baron. That plan is abandoned. They give up a lot and don't even get the single kill for it. And if they got the single kill, I'm not 100% sure it was worth the Kilios.
Still would have looked damn cool, but now Crown in a spot up bothering here, throws out the Sand Soldiers, but Kuro just hops around to the other side, but Crown is still trying to trade this one back. Haru zips his way over. Now Kiin out in no man's land, completely surrounded by the members of KSV, will get popped. Haru puts another kill on the board, all 4 in his pocket. It's just the Gnar, it's not the Kha'Zix. The Smite's still available, but this is still going to allow KSV to push in and get a lot of vision around Baron.
Yeah, first true rookie move of Kiin in the entire series. Only played half a split for every 8 winners. Comes in with a lot of hype, justified some great performances so far on Afreeca, but the teleport should have been cancelled. It wasn't. Pretty significant cost in terms of map control. It's where KSV has been working to control. Vision is in the face of TusiN. They're turning on to the Baron. They're starting it.
They're going to start this one up. The Varus and the Azir both
They have a really fast Baron.
Absolute ton of damage here. Have the confirmed there from the Kalista, but they are able to get the Baron in the end. Call the Forge God just to dissuade anybody else from coming through. So KSV, for the first time in the driver's seat in the early game. Now, moving forward, it's still just 3,000 gold at 26 minutes. This still could turn around, but with this Baron buff, they likely can move in and start taking those additional turrets.
Observer kindly showed us there that 4 unique kills so far for the Rengar means already 4 stacks on the Bone Tooth Necklace, 13% bonus AD whenever he purchases. So 10 AD gives him the 11.3, which is definitely a nice little bonus to get there. So he's kind of happily going to be in a great spot. Has the Inferno rolling as well. Very, very accelerated on the Rengar. But I want to talk about how clinical it was when they got a pick. A single pick. It wasn't onto the enemy jungler. It was onto the enemy top laner. They knew exactly how fast they could do Baron. It feels like they were, what, 3 seconds too fast for the face check from Spirit. Mountain Drake and the Inferno obviously helping with that calculation. Spirit can't get there. The Baron is in with Azir, with Varus. They're going to try and get the maximum. We haven't seen a Baron buff break the base first up this entire night. We're going to see it here.
Well, it's going to happen right now. Kuro and Spirit are trying to trade something back. They get the tier 2 in the top lane, but they're going to be losing an inhibitor for this. This is a complete trade down here by Afreeca, but it just seems like they've kind of realized, or they think that they have no way of defending this otherwise.
What exactly do Kha'Zix and Kassadin provide in the scenario against Varus Azir? Nothing. They can't all in. They're too far behind in gold. It feels terrible to give up what they've given up, but unfortunately the call from Afreeca was, we're going to lose stuff anyway. They get an inhibitor turret. They'll actually get an inhibitor.
By the way, well, recalls are coming through. They do have the Baron buff, so it does speed them up, but a few people getting interrupted. Nice knock up there on his Spirit. His Ruler will arrive, but
nice
it out with
flash.
Kuro. Yeah, really good.
1 for 2 inhibitors is more than Afreeca could have expected. So that actually ends up being decent for them. People will point and laugh, but you have to consider the composition. Baron buff is the worst nightmare of the Afreeca Freecs draft. They don't have Blade the Ruin King, the Rage Blade, and also the Hurricane can't match Blade the Ruin King when it comes to wave clear. So this ends up being a very decent trade for Afreeca in a lose-lose situation.
Stuck around longer than I thought. I thought KSV maybe would go back after seeing the turret break, but wanted to go for the second inhibitor and then lost one themselves. So very nicely done by Afreeca, as you say.
And really nice quick thinking from Kuro as well, flashing away from the chain of corruption. If he had died there, still would have been decent, but it's even better when he lives.
Wouldn't have been completely terrible, but we'll see here as this final inner turret going to get pushed down. Not a whole lot that Afreeca can do still.
This is the most insane Baron buff power play. We've seen Baron buff, the first Baron buff not even be able to break an inner turret.
Yeah.
They've taken 2 damn inhibitors.
And they're looking for a third one. Calling the Forge God coming through, looking for the pop up there. Finds 2. One on the Kiin, one on the Kramer. Kiin getting ready to transform. They're going to go push forward. With the Cosmic Radiance thrown down, Emperor's Divide shoving them back. Kuro up in the front, has to jump back, but he is actually going to get picked off as Ruler finds the first kill of the fight. Another one coming through as he finishes off Kiin. Can he get more? Instead, likely just going to be focusing down this last inhibitor, Kramer. 2 hits from dead. Just limps his way back into the Fallon. And in completely different fashion here into Game 3. 29.5 minutes on the clock. KSV will finish out this series. We had a 70-minute long game number 2, but they come out swinging and they absolutely knock Afreeca Freecs out of the park.
KSV bring back the Haru Rengar. It takes till Game 3, but finally, my estimation and prediction of the KSV playstyle is there for all to see in the 3rd game. My birthday present is a team that understands how to play around Baron, how to play around Vision. The moment they got to pick, one mistake from Kiin, who has looked like a veteran for 3 games, the great majority of 3 games, in the 3rd game, gets caught, and from there, one passage of play is literally turn onto the Baron, do it fast enough that there's no ability for Spirit to contest, and end the game with the Baron buff. The biggest Baron buff power play we have seen in Korea for many moons. A Game 2 that was certainly a fiesta, but Game 3 was the opposite. It was clinical by KSV, and no one could have predicted this night would go this way. I've said that far too many times this week, but the thing to take away is that for 2 games, Afreeca Freecs deserved a 2-0. By the time they got to Game 3, the 3 kills came for the Rengar, the mentality was broken, there was no way to answer a Baron buff, and KSV were their clinical selves and go 3-0 at the start of the season.
Definitely not as clean as they would have liked. Another 2-0 for the +6 is what they certainly would have desired, but the +5 still in possession of 1st place. Can't be that upset, especially after that rushing performance there from KSV.
Yeah, but who's going to go in there and tell them that, Achilles? So near yet so far is such a cliche, but 31 HP on a Nexus. Maybe just an auto attack from anyone would have changed it. Here comes the screenshots. There are the OGN helpers confirming the post-game.
I like to think he's taking a selfie with him. Welcome back, Haru.
It's the post-game lobby. Unfortunately, for the side of Afreeca, KSV do it. They pull off a very, very unlikely comeback that no one saw coming until the dying moments of 71 minutes of Game 2. And Afreeca will need to pick themselves up. I believe they still have another series this week. This is a 3-match week for the Afreeca Freecs. Harsh on them. Harsh for them to have lost another series in a row.
I mean, bouncing back from this one, I could take quite some time. VOD reviews here. Maybe you just skip Game 2. Maybe you just forget that that one even happened. You move straight to Game 3.
Unfortunately, that's the one.
Too much. I know, you have to go back to it.
That's the one where you learn the most because they were in control for so long.
How did you let it slip?
Haru's smiling. He will not want to let his starting position slip. Surprising to even see him subbed into Game 2. His late game in Game 2, very, very important. Game 3, he had 29 minutes, 47. We're not even sure if that's the mid-game of this season, but it was the end game of Game 3.
I think it was right into the entrance of the mid-game from how things have been going there. But yeah, I mean, you have to say Haru getting ahead, having the majority of the kills at the end of the game there. I think pretty much all but 2 that went over to the Varus is pretty much it. And he will go ahead and earn himself that MVP spot. 4-1-0 for him, 67% kill participation.
A solo MVP interview for Haru is, again, a surprise. A right turn in a season that is defined by right turns.
And just like that, he's tied with ambition.
Video games.
This is a fun timeline.
It is certainly a timeline, I'll say that much. A birthday, a timeline, a dive onto Ruler, and it looked like the start of another Afreeca party in the bot lane. But the chase here from KSV, and Haru just knowing his limits on the Rengar. Burst there in less than 2.5 seconds before the Cosmic Radiance was able to arm. Great chase, flashes, auto attacks, all the best stuff. Does die in exchange for the triple kill, but it's triple unique members, meaning that he even snowballs further with the Bone Tooth Necklace. This was where they over-pursued. They weren't able to take out Spirit. The stopwatch that time skillfully used.
It was a stylish play, but unfortunately didn't get the kill.
And this is the part where the game ended, because Kiin walked up, he completed a teleport. We thought the CuVee shouldn't complete his teleport in the bot lane, couldn't be punished in the ultimate way. This is still the same passage of play. They still have Baron hitting onto their third inhibitor here. They try to chase down, but there's such a big item discrepancy. The Emperor's Divide splits them up. Crown's free hitting, Ruler's free hitting. KSV's going home with all the points, and Afreeca goes home with frustration.
I mean, with a little bit more gold, or maybe just even gold, that would have been a massive engagement there for Afreeca. Very well played with the Cosmic Radiance off the back of the 3-man Dazzle, but just wasn't there. They couldn't get the kills, and KSV takes it. So let's go ahead, throw over to our solo interview with Haru. So Joel, take us home.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joel with your last interview translation of the day. We are definitely having a lot of these nowadays with another late night LCK day in the books. We have Samsung. I'll talk about Samsung here. KSV picking up a win against Afreeca in the most unexpected of ways. In the game 2 substitute, Haru picks up the MVP. Isn't it the first time you saw us in an interview? All the split. It definitely is the first time. Definitely not adjusting to, not getting used to this by any means. And of course, you did sub in and game 2, and you guys got the win because of it. Well, the second game was definitely, we were behind most of the game, but after winning game 2 in the most unexpected ways, I think I really got a lot comfortable for game 3. Of course, you did see game 1 from the bench, but what were some of the thoughts that were going through your mind watching it? It just seemed like I feel like we were being very defensive, but we were lacking the little bit of offensive flair that we really needed to close out games, but we weren't taking the risk that we needed to sometimes. And of course, game 2 was very difficult for you guys in so many different ways. I think kind of our practices were reflected on what happened in game 2, so we were kind of used to this, and it definitely was a comfortable situation knowing that we've had this before in practice. Do you have anything prepared in terms of champion pool? I think if Jarvan and Jax would have been an option, but I figured Jax was a little bit better in that situation. And of course, game 2 was very, very much of a struggle for you guys throughout the game. And what was the communication, during the game before it ended? And because the early game was difficult for us, we just wanted to hold on as much as we can and make it to the late game, and we got that part done. And we were just able to continually play the tower defense game and just make sure we just not let our Nexus fall, and that was the only objective, and we got that done in the most lucky way. And a lot of people do say that Kiin is almost at the level of CuVee, and I'm sure that was a lot of pressure on you on the jungler trying to get the top lane going. No, I didn't really think it was a problem. I think CuVee did a great job today. And let's talk about some of the highlights here from the game. Did you not expect that the game ended here? I mean, I just made the call that, if you guys can defend the top of the map, I can get the bottom where I can cut off key members, and that's we weren't really focused on whether it was going to end or not. And, I mean, it's all due to our teammates doing a good job of defending. That's all that matters. I mean, you can't say lucky when our team did a good job of it. Yeah, I said I was going to go for Israel all the way, and everybody else can take care of the rest. And that's what it took to get the win in game 2. In the third game, let's look at the ban pick and how that went through. But what was the what was your opinion on Kha'Zix during that phase? You know, I thought that Kha'Zix would have been very strong early game. That's practiced it quite a bit. But it's definitely a situation where, you know, the opponents aren't necessarily scared of Kha'Zix anymore in this current meta. And a lot of people do say that, you know, you get banned a lot in terms of your champions that you play from the other teams. But I think Rengar is a good pick, but not a great pick. It all really all depends on the person that actually controls it. Of course, yeah, Spirit played it before, and we're not gonna comment further. But I think it all began with Rengar in the bot lane getting that very good kill that really started this all snowballing. It really was a kind of deja vu moment where I had seen this plays before and time again, and I think, you know, I have confidence that I can snowball once I do get a good enough early lead. And we saw Ruler caught on camera, and he was quite ecstatic with how the situation was going. I think this was right after this play. Did you know that you were going to be able to snowball quite easily after that? I think all of our teammates knew at this point where we had such a huge advantage and we could just snowball this and have really no doubt on our minds that we can win this game after this. I feel like he said a little more additional word than just nice. We're not going to comment further on that either.
Probably the best.
Of course, you haven't made an appearance in a while, and making an appearance today and getting the win. Sure, it feels great to get the win here. But it definitely feels great, you know, getting a win, having not appeared for a while. And I feel like, you know, the last summer was kind of the beginning of where it definitely wasn't going so well for me, and I wanted to bounce back in a manner that kind of just clarifies everything that has been proving about my skills. But I feel like I did that today. But I think during that hard times, CoreJJ was always beside me and telling me very supportive words to get me back in this competitive mode. Definitely see a little bit of tears coming from Haru. I'm sure everybody knows the struggle that he must have gone through. Sure, yeah. Being a League of Legends pro and not doing so well at times after doing so well can be an emotional struggle for some, but definitely with Haru getting the win here, would you like to say anything to the fans here? I know that it's a little bit late for a lot of you guys, and we'll try to just continue to ask you for your support, and we'll just try to do our best. And that will be the 3-win streak for KSV. And we finish up our interview with Haru, and we'll bring it back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Joel, for the translation, as always. But man, what a night, what a marathon it's been, Papa Smithy. We are now nearly 40 minutes past midnight, 40 minutes into your birthday as well, and KSV has taken it the last 2 games going over to them. 71.5 minutes there in game 2.
Yeah, really emotional stuff from Haru, who, you know, had that big spring, and then everyone was saying, including myself, that the team looked a lot worse with ambition. You forget the toll that will take mentally on such a promising young player when he's starting to come into his own. KSV did have blood drawn from them. They did lose their first game of the season, but they did not lose their first series. They're still our pace setters, they're still our trend setters, but they are mortal.
Yes, showing that they can indeed bleed. Next matchup going to be coming up right back here on Saturday, though there are going to be matches in the Gangnam Studio tomorrow.
For tomorrow, it will be SK Telecom T1 versus Kingzone. So Longzhu versus SKT, a rematch of our finals of the LCK summer last year, and also KT versus BBQ. Then we go into KSV playing again on Saturday.
Yeah, and we get to see Peanut playing against his now former team as well, so that'll be certainly an exciting one to check out tomorrow. But those are going to be the games to finish us off here at OGN. But Man, what a day. I mean, it just seems like this is the common occurrence for you and I.
This is our new reality. Thanks so much for the birthday wishes. It's going to be a fun week. We're 3 days down. I'm halfway done. There's still 3 days to go.
All right, still a little ways to go. Thank you guys for wishing him happy birthday. We'll see you back for more OG in action on Saturday.
From my